Hello and welcome to episode 80 of Missile Industries' Ford Falcon 351 project. Now, the last episode I jumped the gun a bit and put some new main jets into my carby and took the car for a drive. I haven't actually tuned the idle circuit before I've driven the car anywhere, so I should probably do that today, and I've bought myself some toys to do that. So I've gone on the search for a vacuum pressure gauge, and this Tool Pro one from Super Cheap Autos will do the trick. I've also bought some more Holley jets. I've got 68s, 66s, and I'll be using this book here to see what I need to do. But I'm going to set this vacuum gauge up to give me a manifold vacuum signal, and I'm going to tune the richness of the idle control circuit based on maximum vacuum, and hopefully that gives me a strong indication that the idle circuit is optimally tuned. Okay, the engine is warm. I've got my vacuum gauge. Car is currently sitting at a high idle, so it's time to mess around with the mixture screws and see what happens. Alright, I've wound the mixture in for about 3/4 of a turn, and now I've backed it back out 1/4 of a turn, and I've wound the idle speed back down, and it seems stable. The next thing I need to do now is take it for a drive. Here we are after another 20-kilometre drive, after I've messed with the idle mixture settings. Had one stall middle of intersection, which was a bit annoying. Car eventually started. That plug looks about the same as the last lot of plugs looked before I started mixing and matching with my idle mixture adjustment. So who knows where I'm at with that. I've had a bit of a revelation with this car with regard to the stalling issues. While I was winding the idle control mixture settings up and down and playing with the idle speed, it actually idled fine and until the thermofans kicked in, and then it stalled the motor because the alternator loaded up and robbed the car of enough power to keep the engine idling. So I've increase the idle speed again, and I've found that while I'm driving the car around, the idle speed's not enough to have the car on the stall converter in traffic, and if the thermofan kicks in, it stalls the motor. So that's a bit inconvenient. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should raise the idle speed still further, up to say 1000 RPM, or maybe put 2 fan control relays on this fan control circuit and have them come in at different times, so I can have one fan turn on early, one fan turn on late, and that would stop me loading the alternator up killing the motor. I mean, I wouldn't expect the motor to stop idling just because the alternator loads up, but then again, these motors came out with a clutch fan arrangement and a shroud, which I'm sure works perfectly. But this is what I've got, so I'm going to persevere with it. Summary time for episode 80. I've sent a picture of that spark plug I removed to my mate Al for his opinion, and he seems to think it looks alright. So what I've decided to do now is just go full send and drive the car for a big long trip and then pull out the plugs after that and see how they look after, say, 250 kilometres worth of driving. Now, my mum's flying out of the country on Monday, so this is the last weekend she's going to be here with us before she hops on a plane. So we've decided to take her out to lunch somewhere, and we're going to do a bit of a museum tour at a car museum all the way out west of here near Toowoomba. And we're taking the Falcon because I'm not taking the Triton or my wife's Corolla. I'm taking the Falcon. One other thing, I haven't actually got any plans to use these jets immediately. After I take the car for a big long drive, I'll reassess the jetting situation. And for the time being, this box of goodies can sit on the shelf.